Give me 1 second. Let me make sure that I can look at it. It doesn't show yet.
I am
streaming from
Twitch.
on YouTube? Okay,
Twitch.
okay. Okay, good. I thought I was gonna have to screen share from Discord or something like that. All right, yeah, sure. Which channel?
Oh, that's a good question. What is my channel? Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
It is Steven Sharif. So it's / Steven Sharif. STEVENSHARIF.
You could just link it to me.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Hold on one. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
Okay. All right. So and this is in the dev client of the game. Is that right?
Well, so this is the production environment, which means this is our live
Okay.
Alpha-2. You can see that there's
Oh, okay. So this is the live game.
Yeah, this is the live game. But
Okay.
I'm on a developer client, so I can do certain things in the live game that you wouldn't normally be able to do.
Right.
So when he's talking about
Can you go to that area that he was showing that was
Oh,
like
yeah.
super empty?
Hold
Okay.
on 1 second. Let me just give myself some crazy speed. Oops, and let me give myself hold on 1 second. Let me give myself
Yep, no problem, no problem.
give myself a little dude.
And are these trees actual assets, or are they just images placed in place of an asset?
Well, I think that's part of nomenclature that I think needs to be better
Mhm.
understood by people who don't develop games, right? Is like when you say, is it an actual asset?
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's bad. So, like, can you interact with the trees?
So the trees cannot yet be interacted with in the
Okay.
desert environment, and there's a reason for that. Our artisanship service is a very complicated service.
Mhm.
As you may or may not know, we have certain interactables that are mined materials, that are wood, that are
Sure.
herbalism, whatever. The way that works is those exist all throughout the different areas of the map, and certain
Mhm.
types of resources are supposed to spawn in certain areas. And so, because of that, each interactable node that you might see, and let me just show you for a quick second. I'll just go and show you in 1 second here. Each
Yep.
interactable object is governed by what's called our artisanship service. And it's a way that you kind of create this dynamic server grid where you pull as many processes off of an individual Unreal Engine game server, and
Yeah.
instead you have those governed by a service that lives off of the game server and that game servers can talk to. So, for example, if I go up to this tree here, well, I don't have the
Mhm.
appropriate level, so it's red. Hold on.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Let me give myself all of the.
Yeah, do a little bit of cheating.
I know, I'm cheating.
Yeah.
Let me toggle max. So let me go back up to it. So now I can start chopping this tree that I have a certain level. But
Okay.
this tree is governed by an area that is under our Riverlands artisanship service. So the trees that are currently in the desert biome can't yet be interacted with because we haven't extended that service into the desert biome,
I
right?
see.
And
So there's
and
basically
we
like,
told
let's
players
say you have like
about that.
there's like a middleman that's like not available, so you can't do the interaction. Is that
That's
accurate?
correct. That's yeah,
Okay.
that's generally correct. Um, so hold on, let me fly to the area that Narc was talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I want to see this part of the desert here.
1 second. So these assets are done. I mean, they are created. What needs to be hooked
Yeah.
up is the artisanship service, right?
And once the artisanship service gets hooked up, then all of the trees and everything will be interactable.
Correct. That's right.
Okay.
So as soon as we get to this section here, I can't even move. Like I am blocked right here because this area is off of the map. This is the edge of the map.
So, okay.
So this is a wall. I am stuck on this wall. It was a little.
And can you just go around and like kind of show the yeah, just to get an indication of like cuz yeah, I mean the exact spot that he was at, but like is this true like pretty much entirely around
And then this is what's called our node cork. So the way that cities exist within the game is they can be
yeah.
developed by players.
Uh-huh.
Oops, and this node has been developed, so it is a desert node. He
Right.
mentioned he mentioned that the node is a copy paste of the Riverlands.
Yes.
Hold on. He mentioned that it's a copy paste of the Riverlands. That's because the
Mhm.
way that nodes exist is they exist on corks. So we have a number of different node
Mhm.
layouts that are obviously intended that we are continuing to build, that the node team is building.
Yeah.
But those node layouts aren't fully online yet. So we use in these corks essentially the node templates that we have available until such time as the new templates become available, and we will replace these nodes with those new templates. That's how development exists. This is
Well,
a
sometimes that's how releases exist too. I played New World. No, I get it. I understand. And so around the other area that like Narc was showing in the video, because I just want to make sure that like we nail down this point like 100% about it being at the edge of the map or not. Because like I just to me it's like it's very important that like
if Narc,
something like this is either true or not. Yeah,
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 he,
I
he has
don't
to he has to send the coordinates that he might have been at. I don't know where
um
where the if he has a coordinates, I can port to those coordinates. But
yeah,
as I kind of like fly through the desert zone, right, there's a lot of it obviously that's still a work in progress because the zone is being developed. But the key takeaway that I have from the video is that he
yeah.
claims what we showed 2 years ago did not
Mhm,
exist, and it does exist. It may not exist near the edge of the map or near even as you go into the
mhm.
deeper portions of the map, but all of this desert zone here, maybe
Yeah.
not this desert zone down here, is complete. But regardless, like the point of that is that this is still in development, and we have been very clear about that as part of our communications with the
Yeah, sure.
audience, that not everything is going to be complete in an alpha, and that I know that that can be a difficult thing to communicate, to convey, but it is part of our process. It is part of the development of the game.
And so part of that is like he brought up that one image and there was a dungeon, I think, or something like that, where it had like this really big
Yeah,
tower in the middle.
it's called an essence geyser.
Okay.
So the essence geyser is a dungeon where a certain monster race that's called the Nagash live, and
Okay.
the Najash are essentially, sorry, not Nagash, Najash. The Najash are the serpent race, which is another development
So the
that is still in
reason why
development.
that wasn't yeah, so the reason why that wasn't available to be seen was because the dungeon isn't in the game that exists in?
Correct. Yeah, and we didn't
Okay.
show that in the preview either. We just showed the Essence Geyser itself, which is an asset that we created. That's the top of the
Yeah.
dungeon, and we showed the monsters that go into the dungeon, but those aren't in the game either yet because
Yeah.
their dungeon's not in the game. Their animations are complete. Their behavior, some of their behavior trees
Yeah.
are complete. Like there is a lot of it that's being worked in progress, and I think that's the biggest that's the biggest rub in my opinion is that
Uh-huh.
it is easy to look at a development, and as much as we have communicated, which we have communicated probably, and I'm speaking from a gamer's perspective, more than
Sure.
I have seen any other MMORPG of our size in development with a following like ours, probably that I've ever seen. And I don't know if you've seen another MMORPG in development of our size that's communicated more than us. Um,
I've seen the negative outcomes of them trying to communicate. Yeah, I mean, usually it doesn't go very well. I
it
mean,
usually
like
doesn't.
the way that yeah, the way that users and like players and gamers like perceive a development cycle is going to be way different than like the way that
Absolutely.
it actually exists.
And I'll be honest with
And
you, like the biggest thing,
yeah,
the biggest takeaway for me about that, by the way, you're 100% correct.
hmm
Like the biggest takeaway, in my opinion, about that is many people have said time and time again when I've gone to Dice or when I've gone to GDC, different
yeah,
convention, I've talked with executives at other companies and developers and publishers.
hmm
They've said, "Hey, man, what you're doing is crazy." Like that it is, you will get eaten alive. And in part, like we know, that's the double-edged sword,
It
right?
is.
That is 100% correct. That is the downside of transparent development, is that every single thing you say, every single thing you do is going to get picked apart, and not by people who know the process, not
Yeah.
by people who know what it takes to build these games, or even know what development is, or software development in general.
Mhm.
And the best thing that those people can do is, they sometimes can sell negativity, because if you look at Narc's videos, and this is not just Narc, by the way, I'm not just trying to pick on Narc. This is something that is true of content creators and influencers in general, right? Is that there is certain types where they want to sell negativity because it sells best. And Narc is a great example, because if you look at his videos where he's praising the game, they have 10,000 views, they have 15,000 views, right? They have something that is not the equivalent of the videos where he's criticized, or where he's lobbed baseless accusations against the game, like his most recent one that has now 150,000 views and over probably a million views that'll get megaphone by you reviewing it as well.
Oh, sure.
and
Yeah.
and he talks about a conflict in interest for the referral program, which, by the way, many products, many companies, many services have a referral system. But the reality of it is, if you talk about conflict and interest, for a content creator to be incentivized by ad revenue, they are going to want to create content that yields the most amount of views and the most amount of engagement. And if you're looking at the proposition of making a clickbait title, or making a rage bait title, or making something that's going to cause drama and get picked up
Yeah.
and spread and amplified and megaphoned, like, if you are that type of person that's trying to build your channel, like, why would you not do that? It's no skin off of your back per se. You're not getting kicked out of the game. You can come back after a year, and now you have your redemption arc all set up and teed off for you, right? It's like, oh, Ashes of Creation succeeded. A year later, Narc could come
Yeah.
back and
I've
say,
only done that myself.
yeah. Right.
Yes, I'm
but
fully
but
aware.
but here's the part that gets missed by a lot of people, is that there are actual human beings behind the screen that are devoting their 100 hours
Mhm.
a week at times to build something where it matters to us very much, the public's reception, the public's perception,
Yeah.
and that is why we create these things. And to see someone say something like, they lied to us, it doesn't exist, it's not in the game, when he has no basis for fact there, that is a super, super hurtful, sad thing to have
Well,
to endure.
it's either something that's true or not at the end of the
Correct.
day, right? And so, like, if it's in the game, then you can show it in the game. If it's not in the game, then it can't be shown in the game.
Correct. And
Like,
that's why I made that response video.
yeah, I feel like it's actually like a super, super simple dynamic. And I think that, like, with I feel like with content, it's not necessarily always something that's negative. It's something that reinforces viewpoints that people already have. So, like, if
True.
people already have a
It's
viewpoint
confirmation
that's
bias.
something, yeah, it's confirmation bias. People want to hear that their opinion that they have is already accurate.
Yeah,
And
no, for
so,
sure. But I will say one thing
good.
to that, Asmund. I will say one thing to that.
Yeah.
Is while you're saying it's true, it's either in the game or it isn't. The fact of the matter is that some percentage of the
Mhm.
150,000 views that he's already garnered with that video
Sure.
will not see that truth afterwards. They will walk away. They may not
Oh,
watch the
that's
follow-up
media.
video,
Yeah.
right? That's how
Yep.
media works. That's how marketing works.
Mhm.
And they're eventually going to, it's kind of like that effect, where they say we have too many satellites in orbit, and eventually trash is going to start,
Oh,
hitting
they're gonna
each
start hitting
other.
each other.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's going
Yeah.
to have this exponential growth of trash
Mhm.
throughout, space or whatnot. That the same is true for a viewer, right? If a person walks away with a now what you've described as a confirmation bias, with an opinion that they formed based off the video that they saw, and they don't get to
Yeah.
see the follow up, they get to go ping pong that on Reddit. They get to go ping pong that in the comment section of another video. They get to go ping pong that in the Twitch viewers, and then
Yeah.
that spreads to other people. So to a degree, that is why there are libel, slander, and defamation laws that exist, because you
Of course.
cannot control what those things are. Now, Narc Narc made some very definitive statements that are inaccurate and false. And I would be well within my rights to act upon that in a very legal manner. But I can't
Yeah.
do that, obviously, right? That's not to my benefit. It's not what I want to do anyways, even though it
Yeah, sure.
defames and hurts me and I can't control what that bias is. And now I'm forced to roll around in the mud, right, about the project, which is taking away from really what the focus should be
It's the
about.
focus on the project. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I get what you're saying. So, like, how do you feel about, like, the way that Narc feels about the communication? Because I think that there's been a lot of people that have felt
Look, if
like
Narc
kind
had
of
said
go ahead.
if Narc had made a video that said, "Hey, I think you should have communicated this better, and I think you should have communicated that better,"
Yeah.
100%. That's the whole fucking point of us being open about the transparent in the first, the
Mhm.
process of development in the first place. Like that constructive criticism, not going on his stream and calling people who support the game autists and retards and banning them and just acting like a complete degenerate, right? And because, and again, I'm not trying to make any ill will towards Narc. Like,
Sure.
yes, I'm super pissed about the fact that he went and made a video that was completely defamatory. But the reality of the matter is that we never engaged with Narc from a company's perspective as a content creator. Why? Because his brand was not the brand that we wanted to engage with about the game. Now, of course, that's a big conflict for us because he was creating content about the game, and some of those videos and content were great,
True.
but some of them were not, and some of them did
Mhm.
not match what we wanted our brand to be. And I got a lot of flack internally from my own marketing and community team when I would even talk and engage with Narc because they're saying, "Hey, man, like this guy is not a good dude." And I would say, "Okay, well,
Oh, yeah.
that's
I mean, this is just marketing and PR people are
100%.
always they are so, so careful. I'm fully aware of that.
Yeah,
And I think that makes sense, right? That's their job. But you talk about banning, right? And so there
yeah.
were a lot of criticism. This actually wasn't really even discussed in like the
The Reddit.
conversation I had with Narc. Yeah,
Yeah.
people getting banned on
Yeah,
Reddit for
that's
like
so false. Like that's another thing that was absolutely crazy. So let me tell you. I mean, you know
so
this
people
very
aren't
well.
getting banned. Like,
Okay, here, listen. So you know this very well. Narc was in his stream. Narc was in a stream for 4 days straight, playing in at the beginning of phase two.
sure,
He was running a subathon, and
yeah,
in the subathon, it was a total hate fest, right? And he had a pretty solid like 300 viewers. Anybody who was watching can corroborate this. This is true. And those viewers were all just kind of, hate baiting each other, and
yeah.
they'd go on the Reddit and they would make statements with their Reddit, and they would say things like, "This game is 100% scam. What they're doing is fake. This isn't real. They should be shut down." All these types of things, right? And so over the course of December, there were probably 7 people that got banned. And the only reason they got banned is because they violated our respect each other rule. There was one thread that got locked. Out of 10 different threads that were about Narc, one got locked
And that
because it
was
was
the
just a
desert
hate
one,
fest.
right?
There were like 7 desert threads.
Okay.
You can go on our Reddit and look at the 7 different desert threads.
And
One
why
of
do you
them,
think there were so many desert threads?
well,
Because like it feels to me like that's like a really big
Well,
point of contention
they
that a
were all
lot of people have.
the majority of them. I don't want to say necessarily all. The
Yeah,
majority of
yeah,
them, in
sure.
my opinion, were from Narc's stream because again, he was running a 4 day long stream, and the desert was a big point of topic for him.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know if that was a result of him being upset about having to shave his beard
Yeah, yeah,
because the
yeah,
desert.
yeah.
I don't know what might have exacerbated that aspect, but that is what I think caused it. But I have been a mod of that Reddit because it's our official
Yeah,
subreddit
of
of the
course.
Ashes of Creation game. It was handed to me because the person who made it back in 2016 didn't want to be the owner of it anymore. So after
Mhm.
like 5 months, he said, "Here, this is your subreddit now." And I said, "Okay, we'll make it the official subreddit. We'll engage. We'll talk to the community here. We'll make sure to enforce some decorum as well."
So
And that
so you're saying that like if a person goes and they make a post on Reddit right now that isn't like insulting or like saying it's a scam or everybody's lying and they have a constructive post about Ashes of Creation on the subreddit
Any
that they're not going to get banned for it, even if it's completely negative.
any one of your 40,000 viewers right now can go on our subreddit and they can look through the history and see just how many constructive, critical posts there are about
Hmm.
Ashes of Creation.
Okay.
Them, I would even say that a healthy, probably half of that subreddit is reasons why a game design is bad, or reason why a system should be changed,
Yeah.
or reason why the communication isn't good. I don't ban people at all. Our Discord is the same way. Like I
Yeah.
have people constantly that'll ping me with feedback that's like, "Hey man, this is a terrible design. You shouldn't do this. The game's gonna fail because of this." I don't ever respond to that in a negative way. That's the whole purpose of this development, is to
Yeah.
garner that level of interaction with the community. That is what we have done for 8 straight years. It is a completely false narrative for anyone to say that.
Um, well, if I look at it and I look at the subreddit, it does seem like there's a lot of critical comments that are made, and these comments are not being deleted.
No, of course
So,
not. Like, well, first of all, you can go on to there are a number of different websites that you can go on to, and
yeah.
you can see if there are any deleted comments. Like that, I mean,
Hmm. Yeah,
that is just
sure.
a factual truth.
Okay. Well, that's at least good to know. I'm thinking about some of the other components of this too. And so if you're
And
talking about like, yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go.
here's the other thing, Asmund, is like
Yeah.
when you put these things into perspective, and your audience is a very I consider myself a member of your audience. I
Thank you.
enjoy your takes. I love watching you. We have a lot of people in the studio that are Asmund Gold fans. I mean, that's
Yeah.
why I invited you to the Asmund Bald Guild when you joined
No,
Alpha-1.
I remember that very well. Hmm.
But what I will say is that, like, if you put these points into context, look, I don't know what's going on with Narc. I don't know, why he's come to these conclusions that he has. I have assumptions. My assumptions are it's because this is the reason of him wanting to farm views and engagement or whatever, and then maybe he'll do a
Hmm.
redemption arc later, and that's like his master plan. I have a lot of different commentaries, but it is what it is. I don't really care. Only thing I care about is that when someone makes false and defamatory statements and it gets 100,000 plus views, and then it gets 500,000 plus views, and it demeans the character of myself or the 230 plus families that I care that are putting their hearts and souls into this game, of which I've put over $55 million of my own money into the development of this game. There has
Yeah.
never been a dime or profit that's been taken from this company in 8 years. When someone says that, it is utter, and pardon my French here, but
Well, it's gonna piss you off. It's bullshit.
it's
Yeah, sure.
complete
I get it.
fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Total bullshit.
Well, all right. I'm gonna ask you. Like, I don't know if you can really give me the answer for this. Like, 55 million. There's no way you can make an MMO with $55 million. Like, how much money do
No.
you think it's gonna take to make the game?
At least another 50 minimum. Like, I mean,
Well,
at least another 50
yeah,
I'll be on the
I
hook
would.
for.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Yeah.
And by the way, we've grown to 230 developers. That's not
Yeah.
230 developers in the middle of Croatia. That's
Yeah.
230 developers in the middle of San Diego, California, which is the
Oh.
most expensive part of the United States.
Yeah. It's like
And
a
and
what
I'll
is it
and
like
I'll tell you another and I'll tell you
hundred and
another
twenty
thing.
thousand dollars. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll
Go ahead.
tell you another thing. I take care of my developers. We give
Yeah.
100% health insurance for our developers, their spouses, and all of their children as well. And that's on
Yep.
a game that's not making profit. So for
Right.
someone to demean my character like this and to drag me through the mud this way is absolutely out of character and wrong. It is just
Okay.
wrong.
No, I understand that. I mean, what do you think about like the 6 years of the game being in alpha? Because he said he
I
did the
think
math on it.
I said this at the start of this development.
Yeah.
I said that we are going to make this game in a way that we feel is right. A lot of games come out and they get worked on in the dark. How long did Throne and Liberty take to develop? 12 years.
You mean
And
lineage?
Lineage 3, 12
Yeah,
years. And by
exactly.
the way, this is no hate against NCSoft or their game. I think they did a great job. I'm just saying it took 12 years to make, and that was from an established major MMO RPG powerhouse to build a game
Yeah.
like that, right? And I'm not trying to judge whether or not Throne of Liberty was good or whatever. I don't, that's it is what it is. Everybody can
But
make
it
up
takes a
their own
long time
opinion,
to make a game.
but it
Yeah,
but it takes a long time to make a game, and it takes a real fucking long time to make an MMORPG, and
yeah,
multiply that by 10 when you're trying to do the level of complexity in systems that we are trying to do, which is
yeah.
fucking
Sure.
crazy.
No, so you don't have like a time frame or anything for how long the alpha is going to
Do you
last?
know if I told you a time frame today and that time frame changed, what would
Uh-huh.
happen? What would happen? I would be flailed
Well,
alive again.
you'd be lying again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd be a liar. I would be a
Yeah,
liar.
okay. So you don't want to get a time frame because then you're going to get nailed down for another video about you lying in the
Well,
future.
and
No, I
the
think
other
that's fair.
the other thing
No,
is
of
like, how
course.
can I give a time frame when we just started our Alpha 2?
Mhm.
The whole
Yeah.
point of this fucking alpha is to test everything, right? And
Mhm.
before we go into full onslaught production of these core systems, we need to test that one, they work, two, players want them, and three,
Yeah.
whatever we need to do to make those systems work differently, we have time to do that. Like, that's the
Yeah.
whole point of Alpha 2. So like, again, if you aren't interested in the development process of an MMORPG, my whole recommendation is chill, don't follow us, check in a year, in 2 years, whatever it
Yeah.
is, get an average update every now and then. But what the reason I told Narc, like, and anyone else who was getting their tits in a twist, or excuse me, their who
Yeah.
were
It is what it is. Yeah. No, true. Yeah, for sure.
who were getting their boxers in a bunch because
Yeah.
of the development process, go take
Yeah.
a break. Take a break for your own mental. Let me tell you, developing this game has not been great for my mental health. It sure
No.
as I would not wish this level of engagement with the community, this level of complexity in the game development. I mean, you got to understand, I started this also 8 years ago without having any experience in development whatsoever, just
Yeah,
being a
yeah.
lover of MMOs and wanting to make something that I like. Right.
Mhm.
So like I had to run through the crucible on fire with my head on fire, right? And
Yeah,
and
sure. No,
and
I
and
understand.
my recommendation is take a break. Go take a break
Yeah.
for your own mental health. That wasn't any dig on his mental health. I don't personally care about Narc too much to care what his mental health status is. I'm just suggesting to anyone that is too emotionally invested in our development process, go
Yeah.
take a break. We will be here when you get back. This project is too large. I have put too much of an investment. I care too much, and so does our team,
Yeah.
about its success for it to fail. And so, because of that, we are going to do what's necessary, no matter the time it takes. Now, ultimately, I don't want to be in a 10, 12, 14-year long development cycle.
Yeah.
But another thing to keep in mind is that when people say, hey, it's been 8 years, that first year we were 12 people. We
Yeah,
were
sure.
12 people. We were 25 people the next year. And then we were
Ye
40 people the year after that. We didn't start this development with 500 people on the side. I don't have $700 million that I've collected from crowdsourcing like Star Citizen. And again, it's
yeah,
no heat
sure.
against Star Citizen. It is what it is. I'm just saying, like, this is a project built of passion. And by the way, Ashes isn't going to be for everybody. We are a PVX game. Probably half the market doesn't want PvP in their game. Half of the market share of MMORPG
Sure.
players probably do not want our flagging system. But I understand that. And there's space in the market share for a game like us, even if half of the people don't like our visuals, don't like our art, don't want
Mhm.
our, mechanics. Okay, do we want to gatekeep the other half of the market share that do want that? Is
Yeah.
if you don't like it, does it mean it shouldn't be made? Does it mean it's a scam? Does it mean that you should demean the character of the people who are putting their blood, lives, sweat, and tears into the project and make false statements that you yourself can be liable for like that, Narc? No.
Well
If you
well
want
well,
to walk
so
away, if that's truly your intent, then by all means, walk away. Don't drag us through the mud in an effort to get views and misrepresent the game when you do it. Like, come off of it.
so we could go back to this whole desert situation, right? About it being an expansion to the desert. Now, whenever you were talking about the expansion to the desert that was going to happen on December 20th,
Yeah.
what is that?
That's the
What?
nodes. That's the nodes. So
Okay.
these three locations, you
Yeah.
see this node that says Athenar, Sunhaven, and
Yeah.
Asmaron. Like, those were nodes that didn't exist before the 20th. And
Okay.
so
So
and so
those
now
all
they
got added.
now they
And
have
can you
nodes
can you
and
go to one of those? Like, because I think
yeah,
you went
yeah,
to
yeah.
one of them, but yeah. Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
And how many people, by the way, are on the server? Like, do you have any
We
idea
have
of like how
we
many people there are?
Yeah, we have over 110,000. I think it's like 112,000 people now that are participating in Alpha-2. And on our record for a server was 7,400, I think, on December 20th. We had 7,400 people on one realm, which, by the
Mhm.
way, for an Unreal Engine 5 game is. I don't know of any other UE5 games that have released that have been able to achieve that number. So if anybody else knows that, that's they can.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't
Yeah,
think
I'm
so.
not sure.
So this is the Sunhaven node, right? And this
Okay.
this
So
now
this is one of, and this was added in
the
the
20th,
December. Okay, so this
correct?
this is, so to say that like there was nothing that was added, this was added.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
There were three nodes
And
that were
there's
added.
two more of them besides this.
Correct, yeah, that's right. And
Okay.
and and they were encampments before this, and they were crossroads before that. So anybody that
Yeah.
played it, they can come and they can see this. There's building sections here that a mayor can construct.
Is one of
Um,
them called Asmarin? Because I think that's where a narc was in the video.
Asmund, yeah. Let me see
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Can you go to that? Because like I just, again, it's just about like this thing about it being on the edge of the map. To me, this might sound like some kind of like weird fixation, but like to me that matters a lot because it's like, was it or wasn't it? You know?
Yeah, that's fine.
Hmm.
The other key takeaway is that like, whoops, uh-oh, I got stuck under the ground. Nobody look.
Yep.
You're not you're not supposed to teleport.
Uh,
Hold on. There we go. This is Asmarin.
mhm.
Let's see, where would the edge be? So already you can see that Asmarin is kind of near the edge, right? This is
Okay.
Asmarin.
Yeah. Okay, and so it's at the edge down there at the bottom. Yeah, if I look at his map, it just like I don't know. I mean, I could like
This is the edge. This is Asmarin, and then this is the edge right here. You can't go further.
okay. So if you just go, okay, so you can't even, and this is the case all around the map, right? Like this is
Yeah,
like if you go,
you can see the map edge is here.
so
You can't go further than that.
okay, so this,
See,
okay,
I'm trying to like it won't let me.
okay,
And that's where
so
Asmarin is. But again, the key
all right,
point isn't so much whether or not he was at the edge. That's fine. Maybe he
yeah,
was.
okay,
Maybe he was 100 meters off of the edge. I don't know.
hmm,
But regardless, the point is he showed side by side comparisons of our showcase from 2 years ago, and he said none of this is in the game. That is what he said.
yeah.
He said none of this is in the game, and that's bullshit. I just released a video that showed
And
all
this what
those
you're
assets in the
looking at
game.
right now, that this is it. This was added into the game on December 20th.
Yes. This was added
Okay.
into the game on December 20th. Anybody who's been playing here, let me ask this
Hmm.
dude. Here, let me just ask this guy. Hello, Mew.
Hmm.
Hold on.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna
And
say.
this is in the live version of the Alpha-2 that other players
Oh
can
yeah, yeah,
regularly see you in.
absolutely, absolutely. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, so
So you're asking
I
how
just
long you've been
asked him. He
playing.
says since Alpha 1.
Okay. Somebody else saying they were there. Yeah. May I ask a question? All right. Were these nodes present in phase 1? He says no.
There you go.
All right. Well, he's gonna have to check
Hold
his
on.
PayPal, right?
Let's give him let's give him a hat. We need to give him a hat.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Boom. We just gave him a Santa hat.
Great. Good for
Hold
him.
on. Let's ask him if he can put the Santa hat on real quick. Look at him dancing. All right, guess something, big
Mhm.
dog. Can
So, and also like there's going to be more stuff I'm sure added to the desert as time goes on, right? I mean, it's not
I
like
mean,
it,
what kind of a
they
question is
have to
that,
be
Asmund?
leveled.
You know that. Come
Okay.
on, like we're
Yeah,
building the
well, I mean,
game.
well, it's just, well, yeah, but like I'm leading it because like that's like these are what the concerns are,
Yeah,
right? And
that's true.
And so like that's really I'm not really like obvious like let's be real. Fucking obviously, it's not like you're gonna have a bunch of random mobs out there doing nothing, right?
Correct.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Here, this is a mayor.
Okay.
Oh, come on. Why didn't this dude put his hat on?
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't know how.
I'm gonna say, put your hat on.
Mhm.
Oh man. Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
that is the whole point
Yeah,
of. Oh, look, he did. He put his hat on. So that's the Santa
there it
hat.
is.
Boom.
That's
Thank you.
nice.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate that, Mew.
About a week late, but it's okay.
For real. Uh,
So that's going on. You've got all the so this is the desert. They did add new stuff into the second phase with these 3 nodes and the desert being expanded. And with like the dungeon and all of that, I'm sure that'll probably get added into the future too. I feel
which
like a lot
dungeon?
of
Which dungeon?
the one that had that I forgot the term that you used for it.
Oh, the Najash
Uh
dungeon. The Najash dungeon.
yes, in the
Yeah,
Josh
yeah,
dungeon. Yes.
absolutely. So we just added the Befallen Forge dungeon in,
Uh-huh.
which is like a bunch of undead dwarves that are governed
Okay.
by a Dracolich, basically.
Yeah.
This is. Hold on one second. Let me do this real quick here. This is the Befallen Forge dungeon,
Hmm.
which just got added in December 20th as well. There's a little party here that's probably trying to do things.
So it's an outdoor dungeon.
No, no, this is an indoor dungeon.
So I
Oh.
mean, a non-instanced.
Oh yeah, no, not the vast majority of all of our content in
Okay.
game is open world. Like
Okay.
the whole point of a PVX, game that we're trying to
Yeah,
build
sure.
is contested, zones and whatnot. So that there are good
Yeah, like Black
spots.
Desert or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
there
I
are
get
good
it.
spots to XP. There's rare drops or
Hmm.
whatever. Like, look at this dude.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that are available. There's another group here.
Hmm.
They're kind of down here. There's a little puzzle down here that you can succeed at to get to cross. But yeah, it's all open world. In the dungeon you're
Hmm.
talking about, the Najash dungeon that has that Essence Geyser, the Essence Geyser asset is complete, but the asset kit that's used to actually build the interior of that dungeon is obviously something that we're still working on.
Okay.
The Najash monsters and whatnot have been worked on, and those models we've shown, and that's the whole point
Yeah.
of our development update that we do every single month, right? The whole part of us showing all of these assets getting created, all of the world being built and the monsters being constructed, like that's, oh god, I'm gonna die. Hold on. The whole point of that is so that we can get player feedback before we move into mass production, which is an alien idea for many people, for
Yeah, yeah.
many developers, for many publishers, because of course you can run into situations like the one we're currently in, which is where, hey, a lot of people who are witnessing the game that are very, we have millions of registered users that are interested in Ashes of Creation because for 8 years we've been very
Hmm.
public about its development, which is a good thing. That's the good side of the sword, is that we don't have to spend any money on advertising. We don't have to spend any money on marketing. There is a cost that comes with us needing to each month kind of prepare something to be shown to the public. That's why we have a community team. That's why we have
Yeah, sure.
Margaret, who heads up
Margaret,
that
yeah.
team, right, in the communications team. And a lot of development teams don't like having to kind of, to essentially having that exposure when
To do
something's
regular
undone.
updates
Yeah,
because there's also like there's a degree of accountability with it. No, no, I
absolutely,
can easily
absolutely.
see
And
that.
the biggest concern is that like something
Hmm.
changes and the community puts you on a flail for it, right?
Yeah, of
Where
course.
it's like, oh, you
Yeah.
promised this and now it's not a thing anymore. Well, the whole gambit, the whole gamble of this approach is that we can be open about the
Mhm.
changes and we can foster some degree of understanding from our community when those changes happen for the game. Like, isn't that
Yeah.
what we want to see rather than getting something we had no idea about on day one, hating it,
Hmm.
and then the game fails, and now, boom, that game is gone. Like,
Yeah.
they can't go back and they can't fix it, right? Because they've already put $300 million into creating what it was. And for them to
Yeah.
go back and fix it, it's going to cost another 100 million or another 150 million in order to do it. So,
Right.
like, to that degree, you're mitigating risk on the side of the open development in exchange for the risk of landing something that people didn't ask for or don't want, right? Well, in my
Yeah.
opinion, it's worth this risk that is now being realized in the communications department that's a problem, right? And instead, what we're mitigating is the risk that we land on day one without an audience that gives a fuck to play the game.
Yeah, sure. Of course, right? Because like that at that point, it's like you're gonna have people that like if you develop in the wrong direction, you go too far in that direction, you can't change course, and like then you're kind of stuck
Correct.
there.
That's
Like I've
correct.
seen a lot of games that have ended up being in that
That's
position.
absolutely right. And
Yeah.
let me tell you another big thing. One other thing that is really sets my bullshit radar off.
Okay.
He says, that he doesn't agree with the pricing. Um,
Yeah, yeah, that was the
and
big thing I wanted to
yeah,
talk about.
no,
Yeah.
absolutely, and that's totally
Okay.
fine. Like, this is specifically priced in part to restrict the number of people who are participating in this alpha because it's not for everybody. In addition, we have to pay for servers to host at a minimum 1 year's worth of time that our alpha is going to be live.
Hmm.
And that $100 goes to pay for that 1 year's worth of what would normally be a subscription.
Sure.
1 year's worth of what must normally be a subscription. So how much, what does that come out to? And then on top of that, we're giving 1 month subscription with it, and we're also giving access to all the betas. So I get it. People don't want to pay that money. That's fine. We literally tell people, do not buy the alpha. This is not a game. This is not for you. You will lose nothing by not participating in our alpha. The game
Hmm.
will launch and you cannot pay a box price for it. We don't even have a box price, which is, in my opinion, the
Yeah.
best monetization model. We
Well,
are
that's the
just
biggest like
subscription.
injection. Yeah, of course.
Correct. So anybody that goes out there and says this is a scam, I am telling you that this game that I've sunk 55 million or more dollars into over the course of the last 8 years myself
So far.
personally so
Yeah.
far, and will have to put in another 50 probably,
Yeah.
that you should not buy the game. And we have a 90-day refund policy on these $100 alpha keys, and we
Yeah.
do not have a minimum time requirement if people want a refund. If you want a
Uh-huh.
refund and you go in and you play this and you play our alpha and you test our alpha and you test it for 10 hours, 15 hours, we are granting those refunds because we don't want people to be upset about that. So it is total fucking bullshit that what the statements that the way he represented us and the game in his video. And again, I don't want to pick on Narc. Like, okay, dude, go play
Sure.
another
Yeah.
game, go enjoy your content creator
Play Dark
career,
Souls.
go play
Yeah.
Dark Souls, do you. That is, it's all, this is your life, brother. You go do you.
Yeah.
But you lit a match and you threw it behind you and you said, fuck you, Steven, fuck you, Ashes, and fuck you, developers. And that's fucked up.
Well, there it is. Well, I feel like there's a lot of development teams that feel that way, and just from like my own personal opinion, I wish that more development teams would communicate honestly rather than, go through like 8 layers of PR bullshit because it's like you don't really know what somebody's thinking, you're not having an honest conversation, it's a bunch of fakery. For sure. No, I do really appreciate you coming on and talking about it and everything. Like I really do. And I'm sure it puts you in a weird position, especially with like the
Yeah, I
people
don't
in your
want to.
team, etc. But
I don't want to be in this position. Like I
yeah, I
this
don't.
is
Yeah,
not why this is not why I've devoted 8 years of
yeah,
my
yeah,
life to building this game. I don't want to be here talking about drama. I don't like
yeah, yeah,
drama. You don't like drama. I don't like drama. The community probably loves the drama, but I do not. I'm sure it's entertaining, but it's not why we're doing
yeah.
what we're doing. I get
Uh
it.
huh.
I get it's entertaining. I get that it sells.
Yeah.
And I know that it's some level of exposure, but I just want to make a great game.
Hmm.
That's all I want to do. Oh, there's one other thing that was in our
Yeah.
video here. Hold on. Let me
Yeah.
my
No, if there's
my
anything else you want to cover, like I'm ready to see it or hear it or whatever.
I just got a message that was like, "Hey, you should show the snail." Cuz that
Okay.
was in the desert video too. Hold on.
Yeah, it was.
This is our snail. Oh.
That's the mount, right? The
Oh
blue one.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very rare snail.
Okay.
Its name is a wisp whelk, and you can walk around on the wisp whelk.
Hmm.
I'm going a little fast. Hold on.
Okay, so this is the one exactly from the video.
Yep. And not
Yeah.
only that, the snail, the little horse snail, we call it a snorse,
Hmm.
right? It still has some
Yeah.
textures that need to be added. It's missing some mats that I think unfortunately
Yeah.
got stomped when we did a master material update on the saddle.
Hmm.
But you can take the snail and you can press period here and it'll turn into a little
Hmm.
snail.
Oh shit. Okay. So it's like a mount,
And
like
then you can just
special.
oh
Yeah.
shit no oh killed the fucking snail. God damn it.
Oh wow. So it has like two different movement types
Yeah, it has two different movement types.
outside of that guy attacking you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad.
Okay.
And
Well, yeah. That
there's
no,
one
that's
other thing,
cool.
by the way,
Yeah. Uh huh.
Pirate Software Thor. He's been
Yeah.
playing the game a lot. I know that he's a big proponent of it. We definitely have a lot of systems that are mirrored off of the way that Eve's economy and like zero sec space and stuff have been architected. We have a lawless zone. We have we
Yeah.
have a territory in the open seas that are kind of similar to zero
Hmm.
sec. Um, and a lot of the things that Narc said about Pirate are just totally unfair and demeaning as well. And I think that it's important. The biggest takeaway that I have when it comes to these types of interactions
Hmm.
is that we're all part of the same ecosystem and genre of player groups. We have
Yeah.
all been, I went on your show back in 2020 when I was driving to Vegas, and I made the statement that as an MMO player, we all feel like a bunch of beaten dogs. And
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
and that is still to this day very true, and we all know this because of some of the games that have recently released. um,
Yeah.
but what I will say is that there is some level of camaraderie that should be had within our community as MMORPG gamers, because the only way that we're going to get games that answer the calls of things that we want, which is not gotcha quality of life bullshit monetization, which is not pay to win, which is not undermining the player achievement in game and integrity. Like those are the core tenets that I think are most important when it comes to actually bringing in an MMORPG to today's market, that I think a lot of developments and a lot of
Yeah.
publishers are still getting wrong.
Oh
Um,
yeah, of course.
and we can be supportive of each other. The tribalism doesn't need to exist. A game doesn't need to call to you aesthetically, visually, or mechanically in order for you to say, hey, I wish that game does well. I wish
Yeah,
that that
sure.
game finds an audience. I
Well, I think a
want
lot of people well, the reason why I think a lot of people do it is that they and this is especially true with gacha games, is like they're terrified of their gacha game going end of service and like all of their waifus going into the void, right? And like it's the same thing with MMOs where it's like, well, I don't want to have this game die because this item that I spent 1,000 hours farming isn't going to matter anymore.
yes, that's
I
true.
think that's the real
It's a
reason
sunk
why you
cost
see a lot of the
fallacy. Yeah,
tribalism.
for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
Absolutely. Yes. No, I mean, you're 100% correct. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to speak to the better part of humanity, which is different than
Yeah.
that. Hey, look, you may have a sunk cost, but in order for that sunk cost to feel better, there can be something else on the horizon for you to
Hmm.
move to. And those things will
Yeah.
be less if you shit on them. Like
Yeah, sure.
there will be less opportunity if you shit on it. The reason why people say the MMORPG genre is a dying genre is in part our own culpability. We as an
Yeah.
audience have some level of responsibility to be supportive of the people who are trying to push the bounds. And I'm not saying for people to come and support me. I will do this on my own. Okay, that is okay. You can watch, and when the game comes out, if it's for you,
Mhm.
please come and join us. But
Yeah.
we can still be supportive of each other. And it doesn't need to be a light a match and stroke the fire because you get some views.
No, there it is. Well, hopefully, I mean, I think that I agree with you there. I mean, I feel like that's why I wanted to have the conversation with like you and also Narc, is because I feel like at the end of the day, almost everybody really does want the same thing. And so it's like, why is there this much animosity and hostility over people that effectively agree with each other? It's a very, very weird dynamic, right? And so
Yeah,
I do hope that like, more honest conversations like this and everything do really kind of help people get that better understanding.
yeah. Hey,
So
look,
yeah, I mean,
it's Thor.
I do,
We found
yeah.
Thor.
There he is. There is the guy. Or,
He's
oh
flying
shit.
around on his little
Yeah.
thunder wing.
Oh, he's got a flying mount too.
He's a mayor.
Oh
He's a
shit.
mayor of one of the nodes.
Yeah. There you
So
go. There you go. There you go. That's a nice mount too.
it is pretty cool. It's a sweet mount.
Yeah. Well, look, man, I really appreciate you coming on and talking with it and just like giving everybody a just like straight up like no bullshit version of like what's really going on. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate your audience too.
Absolutely.
Hope you
Yep,
guys
for sure.
have a nice new year, and we'll see you at some point in the alpha. If you want to play, let me know. I'll run around with you. We can game. We can get a group together.
Okay.
Try it out, brother.
All right, man. I'll keep it in mind. I'll have to download it whenever I'm not streaming,
All
and
right.
that way it won't DDoS me. So I'll see you later.
Later.
All right, peace. I need to use the bathroom again. Give me a minute. Yeah. So I man, wow, what a day, what a day. Give me a minute.
Was it okay? Oh, my bad. Hey guys. All right, GG. GG stream. Sorry, I forgot I was streaming. This is probably going to be on my bot. So hopefully, I don't know if you could hear what Asman was saying, but any of you guys who are watching, appreciate you. And I'll be streaming
All
at some
right,
point, probably tomorrow. All right, later.
all right, I'm back.